stand and we'll do our invocation. Ms. Connor, would you do this?
Yes, thank you. One bow, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. We ask that you be with us throughout this meeting as we conduct the work for the people. We ask that you be with those who are still doing without due to recent storms, those who've had damage, those who've had illness over the past couple of weeks. We just ask that you lay healing hands upon those who have lost loved ones as well, Lord. We just ask for your thank you for your many, many blessings, and ask that you overlook our shortcomings. Lord, we just ask that you be with us throughout this meeting and those involved. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Call, please.
Malvina Shotpouch. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Audra Connor.
Here.
Meredith Fraley. Don Garvin. Chet Hoskin.
Here.
Taylor King.
Here.
Johnny Keener. Jackie Bob Martin. Linda O'Leary. David Thornton. Kara Cowan Watt. Willa Shargey.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the December 12 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second for approval. All in favor, aye? Aye. And the next, we have the January 4 minutes, which were handed out. They were not in our book, but they're to be up for approval also.
Second.
Mr. Bradford, did you second them?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Motion and second for approval. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you. Moving on to reports, we have Human Services Department. Welcome, Norma.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with electricity.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I'll try to catch you up on time. The first thing I'd like to do is introduce a new staff member that we're really proud to have here. Would you stand up? This is Jerry Sweet, who's the new Director of Child Support Enforcement. He's just started with us, and so as we get closer to our opening date, which will be April 1, I'll have Jerry come in and give you a short overview of the program. Thanks, Jerry. I will give you some background on Jerry, just so you'll know that you think we killed a big fat hog by getting Jerry. He, now y'all know, you've heard that before. That's a good thing, Jerry. Hog meat's a good thing. Jerry comes to us from the Chickasaw Nation, where he started the Child Support Enforcement Program. And Jerry, I kind of think of him as Mr. Tribal Child Support Enforcement. He kind of just started the whole program and was in on the very inception, and is probably as knowledgeable as anybody in the nation. So we're very glad to have him and think he's going to help us be very successful with our program. So you'll be hearing more between now and April 1 about what we hope to do with this program and bringing a self-sufficiency to our families and more money to our children. Let me see. Councilman Martin had a question for me last night about adoption. So I thought I'd just take a minute to let you all know that there's a website called Cherokee Kids. It's www.cherokeekids.org. And if you go to that, you will learn many things about Indian child welfare. And one of the areas is adoption. And it has an FAQ that will answer probably the majority of questions you or your constituents might have about working with Cherokee Nation adoption services. So, Mr. Martin, I'm going to hand this to you. I've made a couple of notes. The name of the person to contact is on there, the page on the website, and if they'll go to that and go to the FAQ, they will find it.
That you might explain that it's not me the teacher.
Well, you've done that, though, right? You've done that. I'm asking that for a constituent.
Raised two girls, yeah.
All right. You keep up the good work finding us good adopted homes. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't know. The other thing I just want to mention is, of course, the response to the ice storm disaster. I've had staff be involved on many, many levels, doing late night and weekends and whatever we needed to do our part. We were primarily involved in the food, the water, chopping some of our elders out of the where the woods have fallen on their house. We've had a lot of unusual circumstances that we've had to respond to, people who are on respirators and feeding machines and CPAPs and those kinds of things. Lots of, every day is a new day, and I know you all get a lot of those calls, so we're continue to try to work on those issues. In terms of people applying for assistance, as of right now, they need to come to our offices. If they can't get to our offices, we will let us know. We'll make home visits. None of our eligibility requirements have changed for our programs at this time. We don't know what might happen in the near future, but the best thing to do, I get calls like this, and this is hard for me. I heard you all are giving out generators. Well, no, we're not giving out generators. But if if you or they will talk to me about, I've got this one situation, and this is what the situation is, then I can work on it, and sometimes we can get those things done. But if you call me and just say, are you giving out generators? Are your constituents do? I'm going to say no, because we don't have any to give away. But sometimes we can find those resources when there is an extreme need. So a lot of times I think people get frustrated when I try to get detail from them, but that's why. You never know what we can do. Let's try to work on those issues. So if you can let your constituents know that we do need detail. It's not to be nosy, but it's so we can know if we can maybe try to work some magic and get it fixed. But there's thousands of stories out there that we're going to be. We ain't seen nothing yet, have we? As this thaw happens, we're going to get tons of calls. So we're going to try to be as ready as we can. Any questions?
Any questions for Norman? Ms. Becker?
I appreciate those generators you got to my people.
That's why you came to me one at a time.
Thank you, Norman.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Community Services and Mr. Charlie Soap.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Have trouble with these things. I'll just hold it. Well, I'll give you an updated report on community service. If you have any questions, you've got to answer your questions. Compassion Capital program is still going out in communities and organizing the organizations, and that's going real strong. And a lot of communities are taking part in those efforts of strengthening their organizations and their communities. As far as self-help housing, we have that's going fairly well. It could be better, but like most of you know, that weather has slowed us down a little bit. We've got one house in Sequoia County almost complete. It should be. They could move in now, but we're going to be asking the people to wait to move in until the house is complete. The siding's got to be done, and a small portion of the roof needs to be completed. And the other two are ready to go, and so we'll be moving equipment to that area. And then also Stillwell is moving along well. We've got one unit up. As a matter of fact, Joe, we're going to be putting those roofing panels on that one building tomorrow, and open there for the other 3 units that are still going up. And then as far as the ones in Rogers County, the slabs, the pads have been done, but we're getting ready to pour some more footings because, again, it's pretty muddy up in that area. So as far as Delaware County is going to be, we'll start dirt work tomorrow. Hopefully, I should say next week because they're saying it's tomorrow, but I'm going to say next week. And surveys have been done, are being done, and then those units around Uchi are doing good. And then the one in Cherokee County, Bill John, the legal work is pretty much complete. So we're moving on that one too. So overall, I think most of the housing projects look good. And the building package, we're working on the policies and procedures. as far as that goes, and we are taking applications for those units. And then community works projects, I think probably about 15 projects have been awarded funding for those, so those are moving along pretty good. So I don't have the list with me, the ones that we've awarded grants to, but I'll be glad to send those to you, let you know who's been recipients of those funds. But that's looking good. And water lines, the self-help part of it, they're going to start second weekend. So Joe, if you want to get back down in business, we'll be ready for you. Everybody else wants to come in there. Baloo, they're going to, it's going to be 10-mile line, so we'll be starting that in about 3 weeks. They said they want to start the second weekend of next month. So as far as Baloo, we're ready to start on that one too, but they want to have a meeting on February 3rd and decide when they're going to start. So that's Mr. Keener's project. He's been working on that one for some time. That's a 7 mile, but all the materials have been delivered, so we're ready to go on that one. So, and I'm going to let Billy Hicks come up and give a little report on the water and sanitation. Actually, we've got a lot going out there, folks. It's just, we could go on for some time, but just another project we got going. So I'm going to let Billy have the mic and give any questions on the mechanism.
Thank you, Charlie. We do have a lot of water and sanitation projects going, as Charlie mentioned. I believe the ice storm caught a lot of us off guard, and last week the majority of our crews have been out helping the natural resources folks, and some of the other crews within Cherokee Nation helping get some of the people cut out and get some of the roads opened up in Delaware County and Cherokee County, and I believe even over maybe into Mays County that we're working. So that maybe slowed us down a little bit on some of the water and sewer work we were doing, but this week we're back in full force, and we're going on both on our scattered projects, doing work for individual homes, and also on these water line extensions. As Charlie mentioned, Tailhope and Blue are getting ready to kick off. Actually, Tailhope, they were wanting to start construction on the weekend of the 3rd, and they were wanting to actually start doing clearing on the right-of-way this weekend. So we're going to get some equipment delivered out to them this week so they can get started clearing right-of-way this weekend. And on Baloo, like you said, we're going to have a meeting and a dinner on the 3rd to let the community know and decide when they're going to get started on construction. But part of that project is actually being done by the water district. They agreed to pay their contractor, I believe, $54,000 to install a portion of that project. So their contractor has actually got started this week, and we've started delivering some bedding materials up there, and the contractor is going to get started with actually doing some excavation this week on their portion of the project. We do have a lot of self-help water lines in addition to these two, and we've also got a lot of projects that aren't self-help that are funded through Indian Health Service. But if any of y'all have any questions about any specific projects or participants, I'd be happy to answer those, or I don't know the answer off the top of my head, I'll get the answers back to you.
Any questions? Don?
How's Fort Gibson coming along?
Don, I asked about that before I came over. The last thing we had contact with OG&E, we found out the water line was actually on the west side of their driveway. And we asked them if we could cut that driveway, and they told us in no uncertain terms no. And so what we were going to have to do is we're going to have to do a road bore under that entrance to OG&E, which is going to raise probably between $7,000 to $10,000 to get the water under their driveway where the community can start. We haven't heard back from Mr. Hayworth or the gentleman that works for him since then. So we're just kind of waiting on them to see what their decision is, and if they want to continue at this point, we'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Ms. Watts?
Did I miss an answer on Chelsea's IHS water application?
No. Normally those water line funds come down to us usually in January, February. They come to IHS, and then we get notified if they're going to be funded.
Because of the continuing resolution?
Because of the continuing resolution, we were just notified today that they won't know specifically until an actual budget gets passed on those construction projects if they'll be funded and when.
What's it in past years? Is there kind of some? I mean, could it be next year?
I'm not familiar with continuing resolution. This is the first time I've had to deal with that. Generally, the past several years, it's been pretty regular that we would get our funding down around the first of the year, we will get notified that the projects have been funded.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Billy, of that 10 miles out there at Tailhope, is that a 10-mile extension?
Yes,
How many miles is self-help?
all of it.
It's all of it?
That's the entire project is a self-help project, yes, sir.
Okay. And what about Rocky Mountain? Are they lined up somewhere to
Well,
started on that?
yeah, what we had planned to do, we had talked to the Adair County number 2 water district and talked to Cherokee 13, which is down at Dry Creek. And what our plans were, we were going to take the water line from Dry Creek when that project was done with the money that was put in that last budget modification. We were going to take the water line on across the road, Highway 100, back to Barber Church, and then back to the east and tie it into the south point of Rocky Mountain and Jackson Mountain and take it back toward Rocky Mountain School from that direction. Well, since that's been put in limbo, we just kind of put everything on hold until we find out if that budget modification and those funds are going to get put down to us.
Okay. Other questions for Billy?
No?
I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Charlie, you got some other? That's it? So you delivered some water in some pitchers, Charlie. I know that you're out there helping the people, and you're really good at that kind of thing, and I appreciate seeing those pictures.
Well, thank you, Joe. Really, Joe, there were many people out there helping, and probably not even a third of them probably got into photos. I don't know what photos you all seen, but Don, Green Feather, Willard, and like I said, Billy and Jack Steeler, and all those guys were out in the cold and the ice, taking chainsaws and heavy equipment. You wouldn't believe how devastating it was in the back roads. Because for some of the people that live in the country, you can imagine. There was just one tree after another in some places. And some people actually were trapped back in there and they couldn't get out. And even though we were delivering water to certain points, the only thing we could do was to take water to those areas where we could get through. And there were times we'd have to push trees out of the way that had fallen. And but for me, it's something I like doing, and it's sort of adventurous, but when the limbs start falling and the trees start falling and the ice starts falling, it's not much fun. So it's pretty dangerous, but also appreciate you all's help and efforts in getting the job done too, especially appropriating funds, helping those people out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie. Next on the agenda is the Housing Authority. Mr. David Thornton.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
Just to update you on a couple things. Our FY06 audit is underway. They've been in for on it for about a month. Hopefully we'll have that by mid-February to late February. And we're going to have an IRS audit, first one that we can ever remember having on the payroll, which we don't pay taxes to the IRS, but we do withhold payroll taxes, and that's what they're going to audit. We'll see how that I had to take the IRS, I'll tell you up front. Anything to do with it. We've also implemented the new workers' comp rates. We had 5 employees that took advantage of that, were able to take advantage of that, and I'm sure they would thank you tremendously. The Community Shield insurance, and I'm assuming Native American Shield, we don't really put anybody new on that program anymore, so I'm not sure about that. But the Community Shield, we got notified that there would be an increase. We've sent some info out to the folks on that. For a frame home, it's a 5% increase, $343 a year, $29 a month. A mobile home increased 4% up to $421 a year, or $36 a month. But in our letter that went out, it said if you have a mortgage on your home, you will need to pay the entire year's premium in March 2007. That's not so. We don't have to pay that. They can still pay monthly on that.
Mr. Baker.
Yeah, clarification. At least one in here heard you say that it went up $29 a month and $350 something a year. That is the total.
Yeah, that's the total. $343 8 years for a
It's
franchise.
total.
Total amount.
Yeah.
Or $29 a month, that's how it computes to. And $421 for a mobile home, or $36 a month. Got what else on that one? I think we got close to 2,200 on the Community Shield program, ours is by far the largest in the country. Really good thing. I encourage every tribe I get a hold of or get a chance to talk about it to do that. It's just a tremendous benefit to the tribal members. Background checks. I just kind of wanted to get you all's input on an item that we're going to be looking at with the board in the next couple of months. Right now, when somebody, before they receive housing services, we do a background check on anyone that's going to be 18 or over in the home. That's a rental unit, Section 8, or just any program. We look for violent criminal activity and illegal drug activity. Well, there's an opinion, 50 different opinions on this deal. And Joe, I know you were on the board there for a long time, and we've dealt with this before. But if someone's in a mutual help home, they've been in there for 10 years, and if they get stopped down here in the middle of Tahlequah and get a ticket for having a little bit of marijuana with them, we will evict them out of that house. Now, does it happen? Yes, we've done that. Is that right? That's a pretty stiff penalty. Real stiff penalty. It's the same as if you were making methanol. I'm not sure that that's good. I just have a real hard time with that.
Do you agree with the policy or you don't?
I don't really agree with a little bit of marijuana rates the same as somebody cooking meth. I just don't see that as. They've been in the home for quite a while. It's a tough decision, and everybody's got a little bit different opinion.
Mr. Baker.
And this policy is even before they're convicted.
Yes.
This is just preponderance of evidence, or you read their name in the paper that they were picked up, and you start proceedings.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether they're guilty or not.
We generally don't have anybody coming forward to be arrested. So, yeah, we monitor the newspapers. And if it's meth, we generally get a call from the local law enforcement agency or the marshal service, depending on who that is.
And this policy goes to if it's your 15-year-old kid.
Yes.
Not just you, it's your 15-year-old kid.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ms. Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because when I've had calls on this, it is not the federal policy, it is our housing authority policy, and that's what you were saying, right?
That's correct.
So it's something we have the opportunity to review and potentially change. Mm-hmm. I'm like you, I think there's varying degrees, and we have drawn a very black and white line that doesn't allow for one-time mistakes to occur in a person's life, and then because if we're trying to do this as economic development for individuals, a home is the best equity and generational monies that can be shared. And if we're not allowing them to build into that kind of generational wealth by removing them out of situation, then we need.
We evict a family for drugs. Undoubtedly, there's kids involved, and they end up at Norma's doorstep. It's just a kind of a cycle that we really need to take a look at. I've talked to Norma just briefly, and she's going to give us some input on this when we start this.
Mr. Martin, I think you're next, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a comment. I know I've had that situation happen in my district, and one of the sad situations I remember was a grandmother that was got into that situation because one of the grandsons, violated that rule or whatever, and I had a hard time with that situation. I expected the grandmother that owned the house as such. And I had another situation I remember that was a dearly paid off mutual help home where some other folks were involved in that situation in the house, and apparently the people lost their house. Those are, I think we need my opinion that we somehow need to take a real hard look at that particular situation. Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Follow up on what I remember one of those situations, it was just horrible. The lady that owned the house actually had a stroke and had been in a nursing home. And her grown kids removed her from the nursing home and brought her back home, and they've been making meth there for months. And finally found out about it, and they all went to jail, and it was just a really sickening deal.
Mr. Macker?
And the other problem that I've run into is you take some of these folks that have led the bad life and gone to rehab, and they're clean and sober for a couple of years, and guess what? We can't help them with a 90-day voucher. We can't. I mean, they're rehab, they're grown up, they've got their life straight, they've gone to work, and we can't even help them with a 90-day voucher. And if anything, we need to have a policy where, if they succeeded in rehab or whatever, that maybe we could at least help them get their feet on the ground. Anyway, now I'll shut up.
Audra, I think you're next.
Yeah, and I agree. In fact, we just had this situation here in our district in the past month where a young man has now been left with his kids. The mom said, "I've had enough. You can have them. They're in their home." He's got custody, but he got picked up on drug charges 10 years ago. Allegedly, and the mom threw that back in the mix, and he was in jeopardy of losing his home. But I think just due by a clerical error, he escaped that. So I truly believe we need a case-by-case policy.
Need some parameters to allow us to. What we do is before we evict anyone on drug charges, they get a hearing, and we call it an informal hearing. And if it doesn't go well for them, their next thing is before a judge. If they don't move out, so they can defend themselves at the eviction. But we do have a little wiggle room, so to speak, at the hearing, but we really need something in black and white. Section 8, which is not an Indian program, it's a fair housing program, and we administer 280 or 300 Section 8 vouchers. And there's a little deal in the regulations, a little wording in it that if you want to keep someone from participating in the program, and it's for drug use and it's for personal use, it cannot have happened more than a year ago. So if it's 13 months ago, it doesn't count. And that's the federal government. I mean, that's federal government regulation. So we do need to look at that. And I had to follow up one more thing that, on what I was talking about with the elderly lady. We didn't want to kick her out and wasn't probably going to. But the problem was she couldn't keep her kids out of the house. She was as afraid as we were that they were going to come right back in there and do the same thing. So it ended up another one of the family members got the house and was able to take control of the situation. So it didn't turn out as bad as it was.
Ms. Watts?
He answered my question because there is the hearing process and stuff, and so you are, even under the existing rules, allowed, because I don't see how she could be held accountable for that particular situation being under med, but now I see. Okay.
And we see that a lot. I mean, where they just can't have no control over the kids. And, I mean, there was an incident, I think it was in Sequoia County, Adair County line, an elderly woman had 3 or 4 elderly male children that lived there who sniffed gas. And they were basically all nuts. She didn't know what to do. Of course, we called Norman and her group.
Mr. Gainer?
Yes. I want to change the subject, if you don't mind. Going back to the housing over there at the Cherokee Heights, we do have a physical fitness room in there.
There is a physical fitness room there. I don't know that we operate that or career services.
Maybe you can ask the AC, is it still there?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's some other group that operates that. We just gave them the...
It was probably donated from Head Start. They got a big bunch of equipment donated at one point, and we're trying to find places to put it out for within 14.
I don't remember where it come from. Our office building that we've got there, we've only got one little office in it. Head Start uses the rest of it.
Yeah, I know where it's at. But the constituents over there, some of them that's got diabetes, says that would really like to, it would help them if that was opened up.
Okay.
And I told them that.
Mr. Keener, I really don't know who runs it, but I'll find out for you and see what their schedule is. I'm just not
Appreciate
not
it. Appreciate it.
David, we got a comment from Norma back here.
Mr. Keener, a few years ago, we were dealing with that same situation out there. The problem was you had to have someone to be there to monitor it, because when it was open, I'll just say some undesirable or people that weren't too responsible were coming in, and you can get hurt real easily on that equipment. So that was the problem at that time. Now, I know Diane Kelly's probably where you might start, but I suspect APDP is involved out of health. But Diane has that whole building for her, we should have had the computers.
Literacy Center.
Literacy Center in conjunction with that. But I know that was one of the problems before. If they can work out someone who will oversee that and open the doors and be there when people can exercise, that's what everybody wants, but they did have some problems with that.
Yeah, this person that called me, he said he could really use that, and he said, and he would try to, I told him that same problem, what I thought it was, because I know it's been there quite some time. And he said that he would, look after it a little bit, but he says I can't stay there 24 hours a day, But he said, time I'm there, though, he said, I'll see to it that it's taken care of.
Yeah, if they post some hours and he could be there, that'd be great. But I'm pretty sure if you'll contact Diane, that she's one, I know I talked to her about it
We'll see
before.
if we can't work something out where
All right.
we had to put a new locking system on the door where you have your own personal access key or code.
In the meantime, I'll just talk to Amanda that called me about it and have him kind of aware of it, if this is what he kind of plans on doing, or get somebody, that's reliable to help him a little bit.
That's a good idea. Some places we have contract with residents to open up the laundry, close up the laundry, and then sometimes clean it. That's a good Section 3 feel given feel.
Yeah.
That counts.
David, I got a couple more questions. I think Mr. Baker's got one and Ms. Connor.
Quick question and a comment. On this policy, is it something that your board takes care of, or some?
Yeah. Our board would pass it to, and it would affect all our policies.
Okay, but it's something that you can recommend to them, and
Yeah.
they can take care of. So it's not anything we really need to do over here, right?
No, you don't need to do anything at this point. I just,
Okay.
if you have a strong feeling, I'd like to hear it.
Okay. And secondly, I shared it with you earlier, but I think I ought to share it with the council. The Gary Catcher needs to be commended during the snowstorm and ice storm. The Meals on Wheels was not able to get to the Claremore Senior Housing, and out of his pocket, he went and bought their groceries so that they could cook and have a dinner and feed each other right there in the facility, and it really was a lifesaver for many of those elderly people. And I just like to publicly thank Gary for that, if you'd pass that on.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Ms. Connor?
No, I'll...
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, David. You got anything else?
That's good.
Thank you, David. Good report. No old business on the agenda. New business is a resolution.
Move for approval.
You want to have that discussion, or do you want me to have it?
I have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. It's the fourth year of a 5-year program. I think it's $150,000. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution is approved. Announcements. Next meeting date is Tuesday, February 13th at 2 p.m. Entertain a motion. Oops.
Got a quick, the
Got one right here.
Comment for Miss Merriman. I've got wonderful reviews. We had a person out in the Pigs area that during the storm that needed oxygen, and through some collaborative efforts with Hastings, folks at Hastings and Miss Merriman, they were able to get that person set up, and so they're not only were the other groups out doing their job and helping people. I was told that Norma is a jewel.
She is, I'm sorry.
You're here.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Ms. Norman, I think you're next.
Todd Ember's coming back. He wants to talk to the council about his declaratory judgment. He said he'd be right back. So anybody wants to hear that, well, stick around.
For how long?
Till we get there.
I mean, when's he
When's he
coming back?
showing
It's on his
up?
way.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.